Hi, I'm David Culp with the Stark County Department of Human Services Children's Services Division, and we're here today to talk about foster care. And I thought we'd start off by talking to the foster parent recruiter at the Stark County Department of Human Services, Mary Lou Remley. Thanks for being with us today, Mary Lou.
Thank you.
I thought maybe it'd be important to start off by telling us a little bit about what is the purpose of foster care.
Okay, foster care is necessary when children are abused and neglected, and it's important, I think, for the audience to know that Stark County Department of Human Services is the agency in our county which is legally mandated to investigate all concerns of child abuse and neglect. And many times when we do investigate, it becomes necessary to remove children from their biological families in order to protect them and keep them safe. And that's our first goal, is to keep children safe. And if a relative placement isn't available or isn't appropriate, then we choose foster care, so that those children can be in a temporary setting and can be protected until their family resolves the problems and the children can be returned home.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I know you and I both know that our community needs more people to foster with the Department of Human Services. Can you share with us a little bit why?
Sure. There's currently about 500 children in foster care in our county, and 400 of those children approximately are in foster homes which are licensed by the Stark County Department of Human Services, which leaves about 100 children that are in homes that we call purchase foster care homes. What that means is that our agency doesn't have enough homes of its own for these children, and we're forced to go outside of many times our community and outside of our agency, and we have to pay other agencies to utilize their foster parents. The bottom line, that means is it's very costly for the taxpayers. We're paying maybe 4, 5, 6 times the rate that we would pay our own foster parents for basically the same level of care. So what my job is as a recruiter is to try to convince people that if they truly want to serve children, that they need to do so by becoming a licensed foster parent with Stark County Department of Human Services, because it's a very direct way of serving the abused and neglected children in our community.
Okay. It's good to remind everybody that that's when you're fostering with the Department of Human Services, you're working directly with the same agency that is charged with the protection of those abused and neglected children.
They become part of the treatment team in a very direct way.
Okay. Very important. I know we have a general need for more homes. Tell us a little bit about some of the homes or the particular homes that we would need.
Well, like I said, I would never turn anybody away. People call on the phone, oh, do you need me? Yes, we need every foster parent, but we have a particular need for more families for minority children. We have a need for more families that would really commit to taking on a sibling group, and that can be 2, 3, 4, or more children. And we have a need for more families to be willing to foster teenagers, take teens into their home.
Sometimes I hear a lot of people say that teens can thrive well in group home settings. I was wondering if you can share with us a little bit about how you feel that teens also deserve to have a family setting to be raised in.
We definitely have some teens that do really well in group home settings, and for some teens that's a very appropriate placement option for them. But I also think that there is an equal number of teenagers that don't need to be in group homes and that could really be have a great benefit from being in a foster family. And I think that the reason that can be so beneficial is when you look at the population of teenagers and the age that they are, in the next few years they're going to be hitting the age of 18, where they're legally responsible and our agency will no longer be involved in their lives. And they're going to go out into our community. Many of them will marry and begin families of their own. And I think it's real important that they see what a family is like, a functional family where that they can learn the skills that they'll need when they go out into the community. And I think the challenge that our foster parents have and part of the joy that they have of fostering teens comes from being able to teach them independent living skills, teaching them how to live their life after they turn 18 and they go out on their own. And so it's really beneficial. It's something you can't quite get into a group home setting, that kind of family atmosphere, sitting around a dinner table and being part of that setting of pitching in and helping one another to run that family.
Okay. Do you think that people in general might be reluctant to foster teens, or that maybe they hold some myths?
Yeah.
Is there anything that you could
I think the media is really responsible for that. I think it's true of anything that we only hear about the bad teenagers that exist in our community or nationwide, and that there are an awful lot of good teenagers that unfortunately were raised in some really bad circumstances, and that they're out of those circumstances. Many of our teens have a great desire to go on with their lives, not forgetting their biological family by any means, but not wanting to repeat the mistakes that their parents made, and they really want a family that will help them and nurture them and help them to develop their potential. One of my favorite stories about a teenager is a girl who went to a home and was very supported by her foster family, was able to get a job in a local fast food restaurant, worked there throughout high school, continued after high school, became the manager of that restaurant, got engaged, came back to her foster family and said, "Will you help me plan my wedding?" And foster mom and dad helped her plan her wedding and went shopping for the dress. And that girl had as a very bright future ahead of her, because she had a family that nurtured her and supported her and let her believe that she could do great things with her life, and she is doing great things with her life. So I think that the families out there need to know that there's some really neat teenagers out there that could benefit from a foster family.
I know we both have shared information with some of our families who've taken teens. I was wondering if you can share with us all now some of the benefits that some of our families have received from taking teens into their home.
One of the families that I've spoken with that just loves fostering teens, that says they can't imagine working with any other age group, said that they love the ability that they have to communicate with teens. You know, when you're taking care of 2- and 3-year-olds, you know, it's a different kind of communication, and they really enjoy the challenge of sparking ideas off of one another. And they said, yeah, there's challenges, and you know, teens have some pretty independent ideas of their own, and they said it's really neat though when you can sit down and you can talk things out and you can give them direction, but you can let them have some choices and make their own decisions, and to just be able to see the growth that takes place. She said the growth is so rapid and so wonderful that it's a joy to see them take what they've learned in your home and employ it in their own lives, and then go out into the community and really make something of themselves.
Okay. Can you share with us some of the types of supports our foster parents receive who do take teens?
Sure. There's a lot of training that I think is specifically geared to teens, especially in the realm of independent living skills. In fact, we have a worker through the group home that specifically is designing programs to work with the teens that are in our foster care, so that when they do go out into the world, that they'll be helped with budgeting and job employment skills and that sort of thing, and that person is available to our foster parents, so that what they're implementing with them in the independent living program can also be implemented at home. We have a staff psychologist that's available to talk to them. I think that the foster parents of teens do some good networking among themselves, and like I said, there's just some general trainings out there that are specifically designed to empower foster parents of teens to just do a better job with that particular age group.
Let's talk a little bit about foster parenting in general again, and go back maybe a step or two. When people are interested in becoming a foster parent, what type of preparation does the agency have to offer them?
Well, it's mandatory that foster parents go through orientation training, which is 15.5 hours. And although that's a mandate from the state, you and I both know that it's a lot more than a mandate. It's a great opportunity for families to become familiar with the child welfare system, to become familiar with what abuse and neglect is and how it affects a child, how fostering will impact their family, what kinds of policies are in place at the agency, what kinds of behaviors children are going to come to their home with. It's just a good preparation tool for them. There's also some safety sorts of things that we're going to need to do with their family in the form of fire inspections and well tests and references and medical exams on their family. We're going to spend a lot of time with their family just assessing their abilities to parent and their desire to parent and what kinds of children they feel they can best parent, and then help them to decide which children they think they can best work with, and then hopefully place that kind of child in their home.
Okay. If a person were to call our agency like say tomorrow morning, with a desire to learn more about fostering, and they called your number and got you, what can they expect from you?
Well, I'm going to be more than willing to answer any questions that they might have on the phone. I'm going to see if I can send them a packet of information that's going to just give them some familiarity with the program in general, and we'll be inviting them to one of our informational meetings, and we hold informational meetings twice a month. And I think it's real important that people know that picking up that phone, it does not mean that they're locked into a decision, that they have to follow through on this, that we're going to start pounding down their door and bothering them, that it's an opportunity for them to gather information and to come to the meeting and learn more about the program, and then decide if it's something that they wish to pursue for their family. And if they do, then we'll take it the next step further and start them with the licensure process.
Okay. And if people wanted to call, what number would they call?
They would need to call 438-8789, and they would probably either get myself or Mary Pratt on the phone.
Okay, very good. Well, I want to thank you for being with us today and ask you to stay tuned. There'll be more coming up. Hi, we're back, and with us we have is Gordon High and Mary Pratt. Gordon and Mary are both foster parents with the Stark County Department of Human Services, and in addition, Mary has an additional role as being a minority foster parent recruiter. So I thought we'd start off by asking Mary some questions. I was wondering if you could share with us what our need is for more minority or African American foster families in the community, and why that need is.
Well, I believe that if you look at our role, our foster parent role right now, 25% of our foster parents are minorities. But if you look at the percentage of children, minority children in placement, over 50% of those are minority, which, if you can tell, that would kind of fill our minority homes up right away.
Right.
So we have a need for, although Stark County is maybe 8% minority, we still have a great need for more minority foster homes because of that, because we have a unequal balance there of children in custody and minority foster families.
Okay.
I believe that once the black community knows that there's a need out there, which is why I'm working so hard to do that, that number will rise and our children will have a place to stay temporarily.
Okay.
Because we at the agency do believe that children should be placed in their own race. And that's simply because if you think about being taken from your culture, taken from your parents, and sometimes separated from your siblings all in one day, that's a stressor on any child or adult. And to be put into a different culture is something that we try not to put on a child.
Okay. Now, I wanted to share with everybody, if I'm correct, you have 3 children of your own, right, Mary?
Yes.
And 4 foster children presently. Okay. Tell us a little bit about how being a foster parent has impacted you as well as the other children in your home.
Well, I have 2 grown sons who are 22 and 20, and I can honestly say, since I've been a foster parent for 6 years, that as teenagers, they learned quickly that they were a couple of blessed little boys to have grown up in a family without having to worry about what they were going to eat, what they were going to wear, and if they were going to be warm that night. And I think the most important thing that they learned is that to not take for granted what they had.
Yeah.
The foster children in our home have brought nothing but joy. I can't say that they were all angels when they got there, but I can say that they quickly became a part of our family. Bad or good, they were still children, and they made a difference in our life, not only in my immediate family, but in my church family, my friends. They all saw a difference in the children, and I think they just blessed a lot of us.
Good. As a foster parent and as a foster parent recruiter, what message would you like to communicate to the African American community in Stark County to encourage them to consider fostering?
I think one of the most important things that I've learned since being a minority recruiter the last year, I have seeing that a lot of the problem is minorities are reluctant to do the paperwork. They're reluctant to go through the system. And I just believe as a minority community, we were always used to taking care of our own without the system being involved. And so they're reluctant to be a part of that. But we need to get past that and do what's best for the children. And that is to do the paperwork, and do the system thing, which we have a problem with, and get past that because the children need minority homes, and we need them to open their homes for the children.
So the bottom line is the children are number one. We've got to do what we've got to do to help them out.
Whatever it takes.
Okay. I'm going to turn to Gordon now. And Gordon High is a foster father along with his wife Geneva.
Yes.
And you and Geneva are fostering 2 children right now.
Two right now, right.
And you also have 3 children of your own?
Yes.
Okay. And you and Geneva have been fostering for how long?
About 3 years.
3 years?
A little over 3 years. Yeah, it's been a fulfilling experience.
Okay.
I can echo a lot of what Mary said about the children, our children getting, realizing what they had in life and how life has done them, how life has treated them as compared to some of these other children. But I'd just like to say, not to step on anything, or I'm not a recruiter or anything, but we didn't know about this. You know, we just weren't aware that this was available. Not saying that we would have gotten into it then anyway, but we didn't know as much. And as far as the paperwork and the rest of that stuff, it really is minimal compared to what you get out of it and the good that you are able to do. The paperwork, I just don't want people to get the sense that there's a lot of a mountain of paperwork or a mountain of studies or anything like that that you have to do. And especially when you compare it to what benefit you're doing. You know, we got into it because my wife really felt this was what she was supposed to do. It wasn't because Mary called us or somebody else called us, which, you know, might have been an incentive, but she felt it just in her heart that this is what she was supposed to do. And so I said, well, okay, we'll look into it. And we started taking the classes to see, you know, to see if this is what we should do or if this is what we wanted to get into. And we started seeing the need and just what is happening out there. And that's what people need to be made aware. African American people need to be made aware of what's going on around us, all around us, you know, and to think about what you can do to help someone, you know.
So Geneva led the way for you.
Exactly.
And you were influenced by your wife, and that's not uncommon.
Exactly.
What I want to ask you is, what is it that makes you stick with the program and stick with fostering?
Seeing improvement, knowing that we can and have made a difference, you know. It has been hard sometimes, super hard at other times, but then a real joy at other times. And, you know, you need to have a purpose in life and understand kind of what your purpose is, and then get involved. There is such a need, you know, with these children. And when you listen to the numbers and you hear what's happening out there, I mean, everybody, we all have 24 hours a day wishing that we had 26 because our days are full, you know. But all of us can do something, you know. And we got into it and it became like a snowball, you know. And the more we saw, the more we wanted to do. And the more we did, the more we saw, you know.
And I remember you getting involved, and what I saw was 2 people who took it one step at a time and didn't get overwhelmed or overwhelm oneself with what might happen or what's going to happen if we do this. You took it one step at a time.
You have to take it one day at a time, one step at a time, and you have to understand your limitations, what you'll do and what you won't do. When we were preparing for this, we were talking with Mary Lou and Mary about a couple other children that have just come into the system, and I'm going to talk with my wife about it, just because we discuss things and to see where she is with that. It's a need. It's something that's out there, and, you know, you get a lot back. You really do. Not to mention that the fact that these children, many of them have really had a rough time in life. They're life is rough on all of us anyway, but you need to they need some kind of stability, you know, that they can have a foundation, you know, to really grow up. They're going to grow up usually, and if they continue in the atmosphere that they started their life in, what is that going to be later on down the road?
Okay, real quick, if there's one thing you would want to communicate to the African American community about fostering, what would that be?
The need is great, and you can do it. You know, you can do it. It doesn't take everything that you have to do it, and the rewards, you know, are greater, I think, than the effort that's involved.
Thank you. Thank you both for being with us. And please stay tuned. We'll be right back. Hi, and we're back with another couple, and this time this couple has chosen to foster as a married couple, and that is Robin and Howard Dunham, and they're with us today to talk a little bit about their experience with our department and our community as foster parents. Robin and Howard, you've been fostering for how long?
9 months.
9 months, so you're kind of fresh, okay. You have 2 children of your own?
Yes.
Is that right? And right now I think you have 4 foster children.
Mm-hmm.
I'm correct on that. And I believe those 4 foster children are basically 2 sibling groups.
Yes.
They're brothers and sisters and brothers and sisters. First of all, I'm going to ask Howard, what is the importance of the concept? You've heard us say, you've been to our training, you've been to our orientation and to our information meetings, and we always talk about the importance that both members of a couple be committed to the concept of fostering. And I was wondering if you could share with us your feelings about how important that is.
I think it's very important just because for a couple, just for like one person to do it, it'd be just like crazy for the one person. Like when I get home from work, it's like a relief pill to her because, oh yeah, some help's finally here.
Serves as a great break for Robin.
Yeah, you know, I mean, even when I get home, we do everything together as far as that goes, but it's kind of like that extra. It's because she's getting them off to school, picking them up from school, and lunch, and all that good stuff. I get to come home and help her with the dinner and chores, homework. Just a variety of all kinds of things. Oh,
he supports me, and I support him, and you know, without each other, we wouldn't be able to do it.
That's great.
I mean, I know she handles it better than I do, because like when she leaves to go shopping for 3 hours, I'm like, oh yes, you're back. It's more relief when I get home from work. She's like, oh hi. So,
are there times when you get to get out of the house and then Howard gets to take over?
A lot of times in the evening, I'll let her go somewhere for a couple hours and just. Let me stay there with the kids and let her go get, because she never gets to go nowhere. I got the car all day.
I know that both of you have stressed the importance of keeping siblings together, brothers and sisters. And I was going to ask Robin how she felt about that concept. I know that we at the agency feel strongly about that concept, but I thought maybe you could share a little bit about your feelings about why that's important.
I feel it's very important. They're taken out of a very touchy situation as it is, coming into your home scared. You're unfamiliar with them, with you, with them. Everything's just new. When they have a sibling or siblings, that's familiar, and you need to keep something with them that's familiar to them. And I feel it's very important.
Okay. I know that you, right now, like we said, you have 4 children in your home. And you've had children in the past prior to these 4?
Yes.
Okay. Can you give us some example of how the children that you have had in your home have shown and illustrated the importance of that concept of keeping brothers and sisters together?
Well, the way they interact with each other, they're real close. And they have siblings other places, in other foster homes, and they stress to you they want to be with them. Let's go see them. When can I see them? Can I call them?
And they never, even day one, they never acted scared because they've had somebody there that was like
I imagine it would lessen the fear.
part of their,
very much
yeah, I
so.
mean, it was just like,
They're not
to be honest,
alone.
most of them just fit right in. It was like nothing really. I mean,
Have you ever had to deal with a child coming into your home that didn't come with their sibling, and their sibling was forced to go to another foster home? Have you ever had to experience that?
Just a baby.
Just
was
a baby,
just a baby,
so you never really saw the effects of
No.
that.
the ones we have would like to have their brothers and sisters with them also.
Yeah, they
And
talk a
always
lot about them. And
wish he could be here, or wish we could see him, or
Because the children lose so much when we remove them from their own family.
Yes, very much.
It's important for them to have some sense of connectedness and familiarity come with them. I know some people are reluctant to take sibling groups, or they think that it's going to be too much for them to handle because it's more than one or because it's more than two. Is there any words of wisdom or any things that you can say to people to encourage them to get over that reluctance?
When you take sibling groups, I think it makes it a lot easier, and especially if you can get the whole sibling group. They're familiar with each other, they know each other, they know what they've done at their house, and that helps you to get through it. When they come like separate or just with two of them, you know, you're a little confused.
It's more of a mystery for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what you've done is you've taken advantage of some sibling situations where you can tap in to maybe an older child
Yeah,
to
to
find out
help
what's
you.
going on with a younger child.
Very
and I think
much
it would
so.
help them when they go back too, because they've learned one, maybe like only one culture rather than come from three different foster homes. They all go home and they're like, well, we did this here, and we did this here, and we did this here, and then they got mom and dad's old way also. So
I
they're
think
like bringing four
yeah.
groups back together rather than one group. So I'm sure it helps when they go back home too.
Okay. Reunification. We're going to skip a little or jump up to reunification. When we all know foster parenting is temporary, and that means that you're also committed to not only protecting and caring for those children, but you're committed to helping them go back home to their biological moms and or dads. How do you deal with reunification? How do you deal with saying goodbyes? Let's face it, we know that probably most people who think of reasons to not be foster parents come up with that as, oh, I couldn't dare let them go.
Yeah.
How do you respond to people like that with
Well,
that concern, and how do you deal with them?
Every time I meet somebody new, or they always say, I don't want to foster because I can't let them go. You got to think of it as you can let them go. It's hard. It's emotional for my children. For us, it's very difficult. You don't want to do it, but in the back of your mind, you have to do it. And it's best for the child, and that's the most important thing.
Okay. So you keep your focus on...
Our first one, we wanted to quit. It was real hard.
We would like to quit the first one because it was our first time letting go.
I think she
made you not
cried for
quit?
days.
We had the two other siblings, and we did not want to give up on them.
So you knew they needed you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was just our emotions got in the way a little bit at first, and the agency helped us do that a lot.
Okay.
They were there for us. And
Well, that's good to hear. Tell me a little bit about how fostering has changed your life or impacted your life individually and as a family.
it's very busy around our house. We went from 2 children to 6. We're constantly going. We're constantly taking children here to appointments. We're always at the doctor's. So that's changed our lives. Just the laundry, the cooking.
We have a small car. We need a minivan
Yeah,
now.
we have a very small car. So that's hard. So that's impacted
We usually don't get to go nowhere together because
That may grow some.
The children, our children, at times they hate it. To be honest, they hate. They'll say, "I hate you doing this," and other times they love it. They love all the children around. It just depends on the situations.
So what motivates you to continue fostering? What is it that keeps you going? I know you've only been doing it for 9 months, but still you sound committed, and you sound like you're going to continue on.
The children,
Yeah,
they need
definitely
us.
the children.
I know there's so many out there that needs places, and it's something we chose to do and we love to do.
Okay. If you had one thing to say to the community about fostering, I'm going to ask you, Robin, first. I'm going to save the same question for you, Howard. What would that be? What would you say to the community?
About fostering, it's a great experience. It's helpful to you. You can learn I've learned so much from it already, just in a short time. I've learned how to help children more than I ever have known, and you live and learn. very important.
How about you, Howard? What message would you want to send to our community?
I think you really have to enjoy children, and you just have a loving ball doing it because it's just so much fun for us.
Okay. Well, I certainly thank the both of you for taking time out of your busy day to be with us and to share with our community your experiences. I think it's very important to hear from the people who do the actual work, so I thank you both for being with us. And I would like to remind our community that the Stark County Department of Human Services is in need of more foster homes. If you're interested in just information, call us at 438-8789. Thank you.